Well, hello there, my sixth grade little friends. This is one of your favorite teachers, Dr. Kravchuk, and I am here to give you a lesson review or a test review for tomorrow's test, which will be lesson cumulative test day. I keep on wanting to call it lesson. I don't know why, but cumulative test 10A. Be covering the first 50 lessons. Can you believe it? First 50 lessons of things that we've covered. And I'm going to work out some of the problems here. Some of them I'm just going to give you the lesson number and you have to go and do it yourself. I'm allowing myself about 10 minutes to tape this session, so I better get going because I only have about 9 minutes left. So the first question comes from lesson 12. Comes from lesson 12, gang. And it wants to know, what is the difference when the product of 1/3 and 2/3 is subtracted from the sum of 1/3 and 2/3? So the product of 1/3 and 2/3 is subtracted from the sum of 1/3 and 2/3. Well, guys, you got to know what products and sums are. Products are a result of multiplication, so I'm going to multiply this, and sums are a product of addition, so I'm going to add this, right? So I got this going on. When I multiply this, did I say 1/3 and 2/3? What is the product of 1/3 and 2/3? Well, you have to know what that is. And when I get my answer, that answer, whatever it is, going to call it question mark, is going to be subtracted from the sum of 1/3 and 2/3. So what is the sum of 1/3 and 2/3? How do we get that? Listen, that's what you have to go and look for in your book under lesson 12 and figure that out. But that's the first kind of question you're going to have. The next question is something like this. It's going to give you a big long number, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0. And it's going to say, which digit is in the billions place? Well, which one's in the billions place? This one's in the thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, hundreds, millions, billions. So in this case, it would be the 7, right? All right, good for you. Hey, that came out of lesson 12, by the way. Lesson 12, in case you want to know. And I'm going to erase this out and go to the next question, lesson 3. Lesson 3 comes, or question 3 comes from lesson 41. It says, here's what you have to know. What is 8% of $14? 8% of $14. Well, we can take our $14, right? Our $14, and we can multiply it by 0.08, can't we? Because that, in fact, is 8. Another way of saying 8% in a decimal is to move it over 2 places to the left, get it out of that percentage form, and get us into a decimal form, right? So now we just got to do the math. We got to do some multiplication here. And 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 4 is 32, carry the 3, it's 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I have a 0, 0, a 0, and a 0. I bring all that down. I have 1, 1, 2, 0, 0. I have 4 decimal places I have to account for. 4 decimal places. So I'm going to move over 4 places. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I wind up with 1.1200. And I know when it comes to cents that I don't go over into the thousands and 10,000s column, do I? We only go to the tens and the hundreds column when we're talking about money. So it's $1.12. That is 8% of $14 is $1.12. Hey, the next question comes from lesson 16 in your book, and it wants us to estimate the product of 48 and 21. Estimate the product. Well, the estimate and the product. So what's the product? When I have a factor, and a factor equals a product. So when I'm factoring, I'm multiplying. So it wants me to multiply the estimated value of 48 and 21. 48 is going to round up to 50, and I'm going to multiply that by 21, rounding down to 20, and my answer is going to be about, looks to be about maybe 1,000, looks like, huh? That's what I'm thinking. 50 times 20 is 1,000. That's my estimated answer, and that comes from lesson 16. Hey, next question, number 5, comes from lesson 2. Man, all the way back in lesson 2. And that is something like 2508 divided by 12. All right, guys, you know a better way to write that is 12 divided by 2508. Hey, make sure when you do this, I'm not going to do this long division, but make sure when you do, you bring down your zeros, and you bring your zeros up if you have to, so don't leave anything out. When you're done, multiply this answer times that number to make sure you get this number. That's how you check that, okay? All right, next question. And that is question number 6, coming from lesson 18. Lesson 18. It wants to know, what is the average of these numbers? 47, 38, 56, and 43. What is the average of these numbers? Well, you know, guys, what I have to do is I add these numbers up, and I get a number over here. I get a number, X, Y, Z, P, R. That's my number. And I divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, by 4. And whatever number I get here, let's change these letters and make them numbers. Let's say I get 3,221, which I don't obviously. I divide that by the amount of numbers, the quantity of numbers I have here, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4 different groups of numbers, right? So I divide this total number, the sum, by 4, and that's going to give me my answer. That's going to give me my answer for average, okay, the average number. That's how I do that. All right, good. The next question comes from lessons 24 and 29, and it wants me to add and reduce. It wants me to add and reduce this problem. 1136 plus 1136. Well, you know what? Very quick, I'll do this one. This is an easy one, right? It should be. We get 2236. Remember, when we're adding, subtracting, we don't change the denominator. We have 2236. What can that be reduced to? Well, I can reduce that by 2's, right? That gives me 11/18, and that's as far as I can go. So that's my answer for that question. Next question, lesson 8, or number 8, comes from lesson 22. It wants to know how much is 3/4 of 4 dozen? Well, okay, I'm going to have 3/4 of 4 dozen, which is 12 times 4, which is 48. Now, you know, when we have of means multiply, so I'm taking 3/4 times 48 over 1, okay? And I can cross multiply here, make that a 1, make that a 12, and I get 36. 12 times 3 is 36 over 1. So 3/4 of 48 is in fact 36. Okay, that's lesson 22 if you didn't understand it. All right, now number 10 is coming from a lesson 30, and it wants to know, what is the least common multiple of 2, 4, and 8? The least common multiple, there's 2, there's 4, and there's 8. Let me do my multiples. I have 8, 16, 24. Here I have 4, 8, 12, 16. Here I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What's my least common multiple? I have an 8 here, I have an 8 here, and I have an 8 here. There you go. My least common multiple is 8. From lesson 30. All right. Question 11 comes from lesson 31, and it wants to know the area of a rectangle. Guys, you know area equals length times width, okay? That's all I'm going to tell you. You should be able to figure that one out. The next question is question 12, coming from lesson 47. It says the diameter of a circle, and what's my diameter all the way across? Diameter of a circle is 10 feet. Okay, what is the circumference of the pool? Well, for this, you better look at lesson 47 and remember what the equation is for circumference. And I'm going to let you look in your book and find that so I can move on to the next question. Look at lesson 47 and figure out what your circumference equation is, and from that you can figure out anything you need to figure out. All right, number 13 comes from lesson 35. Write the decimal number for 21 and 5/100ths. For 21, 21 and as a decimal, 5/100ths means it goes in the hundredths place. 21.05 is 21 and 5/100ths, right? That's how we would write that in decimal form, and that's what they want. They want the decimal form. All right, number 14 comes from lesson 40 and 43, and all these next ones, well, this one here wants me to solve 1 minus x equals 0.01. You guys should know how to do that by now, how to solve for x. What number can I put here in this place? What number can I put here that when I subtract this number from this number here, it's going to give me 0.01? Well, look at 40 and 43 and figure that out. It's real simple. You can also solve for x by moving things around. You can subtract 0.01 from both sides, right? Subtract 0.01 from both sides, and then I can add x to both sides. You can do it that way. You can do it however you want. Let's look at lesson 40 and 43 and figure out which is the best way for you. Number 15 comes from lesson 38, and the rest of these problems are all about simplifying. They want you to simplify the answers for all of these, and this one is 4.6 plus 0.47 plus 12. Guys, you know what you have to do. You just add these up. You keep your decimal lined up, add them up, and get the right answer. It's really simple, okay? I'm not even going to take time to do that one. It's just that simple. No one should miss that. Number 17 comes from lesson 45. Lesson 45 wants us to take 0.456 divided by 6. So I'm going to set that up. 6 divided by 0.456, right? And what do I do here? I just bring my decimal place up. It's a placeholder. Do my math. Okay, and then when I get this answer here, multiply it by 6 to make sure I get that answer there. That's all we're doing. Number 18 comes from lesson 49, and it wants me to take 0.123 and divide it by 0.03. Remember, when we do that, guys, we don't divide decimals. When we're dividing this, we're going to have, what are we going to have? We're going to have 0.03 divided by 0.123. What do we have to do? Move it over 2 places, right? Get rid of the decimal, and then move it over 2 places here also. So it's going to become, when we're done with it, it's going to become 003 point divided by 012.3. So then that means I got to bring my decimal place up here, and I have to do my math. You do the math, okay? We're almost done. Lesson 26 makes up question number 19. Wants us to take 5 1/3 and subtract from that 2 2/3. Now we can subtract 2 from 5, but we can't subtract 2 from 1. So what do we have to do here, gang? We have to make this a 4, right? And then we go 3/3 plus 1/3 minus 2 2/3. And then this is going to be converted to 4 4/3, right? Because we're adding this together, minus 2 2/3. And guess what? Now we can do the math, right? Now we can do our subtraction. Okay, I did that. I thought maybe I made a mistake over here, but I'm good. Okay, so 4 minus 2 is 2, and then 4 minus 2 is 2. So I have 2 2/3. 2 2/3 is my answer, and that should be right, because if I add 2 2/3 to 2 2/3, I get 4 4/3, which is the same as saying 1 1/3, so that's 5 1/3, which gives me the right answer. May have lost you through that, I hope not, but anyway, look at lessons 26 to figure that out. And then lastly, they want you from lesson 46, they want you to mentally calculate this product, 3.5 times 100. They want you to mentally do that, okay? They don't want you to use any paper. How do I do that? I'm multiplying this number 3.5 by 100, so I'm going to make this number 100 times bigger. So if I move my decimal places over 2 places, one for each zero, I can do that. I'm going to wind up with 350. I did that mentally. See how easy that was? Hey guys, I'm praying for you. Hope you have a great time looking at this review. Study hard, and we'll see you tomorrow in class.